everybody. I'm Dr. Cindy, a chiropractic internist and nutritionist, and your host of the Positively Altered podcast. Today's episode is going to be fun because the wonderful, amazing human being that I have on today, we met at a very fancy business dinner and we hit it off and I don't know, I think we're best friends. She may not agree, but we hit it off pretty quickly and it was great. And as a result, I got to learn more about her and some of the things that she has done over the last 25 years. And it has to do with cancer. And yes, I'm smiling when I say that word because she has really made a difference in that space and has now moved on in her career to do some other amazing things. So if you want to hear a great story and see how we can uplift that word, you have to stay tuned. So listen to our sponsors because they are important. And we are going to be right back and I will introduce you to my guest.
Hello, my name is Heather Lord, and I am the COO of Professional Health Products. Cutting corners is an all too common practice in the dietary supplement industry. When my father founded Professional Health Products, he sourced the cleanest, most biologically active ingredients from around the globe. Today, that commitment remains, which is why the finest healthcare practitioners, like Dr. Cindy, have trusted us for more than 40 years. We oversee the entire process in our manufacturing facility, from sourcing and formulation to manufacturing and labeling. Today, we offer over 300 unique products that can be tailored to the nutritional and homeopathic needs of each individual. Most recently, we launched a proprietary genetic test, allowing our practitioners to get even more dialed in to their patients' health. To learn more about Professional Health Products, please talk to your practitioner or visit our website at phpltd.com.
Today, your life is going to be altered. I'm Dr. Cindy.
Welcome to Infinity. We have worked hard to create an electronic claims website that is simple and user-friendly. This is the public side. You can log into your personal web portal here. This is your dashboard. You can personalize it to your liking here. Our main focus has been to allow you to submit and edit claims as easy as possible. You will find our claims editor and claims processing is simple to use and straightforward. Our quick action bar is where you can find your most important information. Most of these icons will take you directly to the claims the number represents. You can easily view if you have any messages in your inbox of any unread alerts by looking for these blue numbers. To view the rest of our training videos to get the most of your Infinity experience, click this icon. We hope you find this web portal simple and easy to use. Thanks for letting us serve you.
I'm Dr. Cindy. Who wouldn't want to join me for the Positively Altered podcast? Welcome back. I'm glad you hung in there because this is going to be worth it. The energy alone is going to wow you. I want to introduce you to my friend, Suzanne Corson, who is a leader in nonprofit management and marketing with over 25 years of experience. She regularly, I don't know what that means, we're going to find out, regularly speaks to local organizations about the importance of understanding one's personal health history, something near and dear to my heart, and building a strong doctor-patient relationship. We're going to find out if there is such a thing, because nowadays, who knows? Currently, she serves as the executive director of the Association of the New Jersey Chiropractors. And I love that group because they're just a little wild and crazy out there. And there's 1,500 of them that she helps to advocate for and also helps to protect patients' rights and access to high quality chiropractic care. So enough about the intro. Let's get to meet Suzanne. Suzanne, hi.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, of course. This is going to be fun.
And I do think we're best friends for what it's worth. I do think we're best friends.
Okay, good. Because I was feeling a little verklempt over the fact that you're going to come on and go, I've just met her, don't know her. No. Story.
We immediately clicked. We're like, nope, you're my people. Let's do this.
That was fun. And the event we were at, it was interesting because I don't know, there were a few hundred people in the room at this massive event. It's a fabulous dinner every year. And we all wear name tags and we play this ridiculous game where we take somebody else's name tag and we get to be somebody else. So I actually get to be you sometimes.
Well, be careful. Be careful, because then people come and they start asking questions. And that's why I like it too, because you get to sort of hide behind somebody, and say like, oh yeah, and this, and take names and all that kind of stuff. So I will say it is a fun game. I know like the history behind it, and I've met some really, you have some interesting conversations with people that I wouldn't normally go up to, for whatever reason, if I knew who they were. And then I'm like, oh Jesus, like I don't know, I would have been that brazen and, hey, how are you? So I guess it's doing its job, right? The networking job.
Absolutely. It's fine. I look forward to next year. We do it every August. So we'll do it again.
Yeah.
Maybe we can just be each other and then go have a drink in a different room. So
I think that could be a move.
All right. Done deal. All right. Let's dive in a little bit. So nonprofit management, that does not sound fun.
So yeah, nonprofit management doesn't necessarily sound like a lot of fun. It was kind of, people say, like a calling. When I was in college all those years ago, I changed my major several times, and my mom came to me and said, stop wasting my money, pick something. And we sat with a book and we went through, and we got to communications, and she was like, this is for you. And really that's what it's all about. Nonprofit management for me is, helping people feel good, and people that feel good and put stuff out into the world, and, they are, helping, everybody has a cause that's near and dear. And sometimes it changes throughout your life, so, when maybe you have kids and you're super involved in the school PTA, and then you get a little older and you sort of learn from that. You get a little older and your kids maybe move on. So you have more free time and you get involved in, something in town, the flower club or whatever, but whatever it is, you need to find that outlet. And I think that's what I find so rewarding about being a nonprofit leader is helping people find that piece of them that they're putting out good into the world. So
That's
whatever
so
that
neat.
is, whatever they can contribute.
Yeah, which is neat. So for a decade, you served as the executive director at Susan G. Komen, right? Which is interesting because as I hear you answer that question, I think about the dichotomy of feeling good, because here you've got a group of people, right, who are walking through something pretty scary, breast cancer, and don't always feel good. And we hope the outcome is different, but you're really still in an environment where people don't feel good all the time. So where does that fit into the desire, right, to run an organization and still help people through sometimes some pretty low lows?
Well, it's funny. I just attended the Komen Walk, my first time as a participant this last Sunday. After, 10 years of being there and helping to organize and run the event, it was really the first time I walked and I listened to the people and, what it meant. And I actually had time to read the signs on their back and, why they were walking. And when you are going, whether it's you or a friend, a family member, a coworker, whoever that is going through whether it's cancer or some kind of grief issue, battle with a disease, the camaraderie, like if that's part of your journey, and I've seen that when it's part of people's journey, it's kind of what drives them through. And so, many of the volunteers that have been volunteers for longer than I was there before I started at Komen, and they're still there after, are there because that's what got them through their cancer battle. And they feel a need and a want to give that back to other people and to see people through it. So they're not always good stories, but you have to find that hope and you have to, learn from each other and try and grow and take what helps people, how to talk to people. I'm sure you have heard, many times people come and they ask you like inappropriate stuff. So that was like stuff I learned along the way, just how are you, and sometimes like I'm thinking of you, and that means so much. And that's all that it needs to be. So, there is sad, but try and find more hope than sad.
It's an interesting club, and I'm part of it, and not on the breast cancer side. Although I do have the breast cancer gene, and I say that with a smile on my face because we're not going to let it express. I'm doing all kinds of good things so that I don't have to walk that walk. But, you know, as somebody who's walked through a blood cancer, and I've sat on both sides, right? I've sat as a patient, and I've also sat with family members who, some have survived and some have lost, my mother included. And
I'm sorry.
it's really, thank you. But it's an interesting club, and I'm not making light of any of those journeys for anybody, but I think to your point, it's really important not only for the hope, but the gifts, right? And there are some really amazing gifts when you participate in something like this, and stop and listen and feel and recognize how much there really is to learn and grow from, you know, on a journey that sometimes is really very scary for a lot of people.
You know, I about 6 or 7 years into my tenure at Komen, I was diagnosed with colon cancer, and I was, 41 years old. I had 2 young kids, and I say often, if it were not for the fact that I was at Komen for all those years and listened to these women and some men that told their stories, told how they had to be their own advocate, how, you need to insist, what's wrong with your body. You know that there's something wrong. Like, don't take that. So, I really credit like my time at Komen. I'm not sure I would be here if I didn't work for that organization when I was going through my own cancer journey. So, 4 doctors, 6 months before finally I found one that was like, okay, yeah, this is not right. This isn't just, oh, you're having digestive issues. This is you're 40, get used to it. And I was like, nah, I don't think that's it. And, so, stage 2 colon cancer, weeks away from it bursting through my colon, and metastasizing everywhere. So, and it gave me, really great perspective, even on how to get through the surgery and the chemo and the unknown. And, you can't prepare yourself. You can't possibly know what it's going to feel like when you sit down in that infusion chair, and what it's going to feel like during and after and the next day. And, I had literally tens of women who were like, so you need to go to the infusion chair. You need to have a bag that has this and this and this. And don't forget this. And when you get home, make sure you have like this drink, and you're not going to feel like eating this. And I know you're going to say you're never going to drink these shakes, but you're going to have to drink them because that's what's going to get you through that. And if you feel nauseous, make sure that you go in for, fluids, all these things that like, I just would have thought like, oh, well, I guess this is chemo. So, get used to it. And you don't have to. Your doctors want to help you. The women and the nurses in the infusion center that are there, like, they don't want you to feel sick. So like, know all those things.
So on your journey, right, which is going to be different than everybody's, but in yours, was there anything that you chose that was really life altering for you, whether it was to get you through physically or mentally, that you're like, thank goodness I had that in my life. And, if God forbid I had to do it all over again, I want that again.
Well, it's funny because it really comes back to Komen too. So I didn't have the textbook chemo journey because I was younger. The average age of a woman diagnosed with colon cancer is, 71 or 72, and I was 41. And I picked an oncologist. We had literally a month and a half before, it was like 6 or 8 weeks before I was diagnosed. We had a conference for women living with metastatic breast cancer. And this oncologist that someone on our board who was living with metastatic breast cancer, became a good personal friend, said, you have to have my guy. He's the best. Everybody, no, he's the best. And, so I got to meet him. And so the second that I found out that I was told like, it's cancer, I emailed him because I had just been, and I said, hey, I was just like, I want you in here tomorrow. And so he knew me. I mean, this is like a gift, but he knew me. He kind of knew a little bit about me. And he said, I know that your body can go through this like other method. So instead of 6 months, I did 4 months. Great. I did an infusion followed by oral chemo. And it really allowed me to, I continue to work now, a gift, because I work for an organization that was incredibly generous with how they allowed me to heal when I needed to heal. And I had a great staff that I worked with that, picked up the pieces and were like, no, please don't let that, and I was like, no, I can do it. They're like, you can't, and it's okay. But allowed me to do that because I needed that. I needed to push myself through and have that work. And, that's what worked for me. So, and people honored that, and they let me, I think, sometimes think that I was really being part of the team. Really, I was sitting in a corner, just sick, but it was fine.
The stories are great, but I have to ask you and I guess I'll share a little bit reflection too, but I want to know, so now that you've walked through that, where is it in your thought process of what if it comes back? What's next? Now that you've walked that walk, do you spend any time thinking about it, or is it nope, done, compartmentalized, put away, I'm good?
So I spent the first 2 years walking around just recurrence. I couldn't get it out of my head. And I would talk to my doctor, and perhaps especially when it came time, I was going every 3 months for checkups. He was like, a couple days before, start with the Xanax, cause you don't have to live like this. You're not going to make it through. And I'm like, okay. So, but I had to have I had to get it out. I was like, I can't stop thinking about it. He was like, well, of course, it's, and then it just went kind of, it starts to remove from your life. You just get okay, all right, now I just hit 5 years.
Okay.
And
congratulations. That's big.
Yeah. So big. That's a big thing. I'm actually going to see my surgeon tomorrow. And so I can set up my colonoscopy in a couple, and you have to stay vigilant. I mean, that's really the message. You have to know your own body. You have to go get checked out. You can't put it off. It's something I think we always say, I think as women, we put everybody else first. It is totally true, but, you really have to make time for it, and you have to make it a priority.
So I think you hit on a couple of really key things there, right? And we mentioned in the intro about having, a really good understanding of your personal health history, and at the same time, a strong doctor-patient relationship. And I think, more and more in today's world of corporate medicine and the 5-minute appointment and just here's your prescription and we don't care, or at least it's perceived as we don't care. I think it's really difficult to find good clinicians who are matched with good patients. And I do think it's bidirectional, right? But it's out there. Yeah. So, yes. I always encourage people, if you don't like your doctor, fire them and go get a new one.
Oh my gosh, I say that. See, this is why we're just meant to be. I actually say that often. And certainly where you live in a metro area, where we live in New Jersey, most of Jersey, people think it's all densely populated. There are some counties that they don't have the hospitals. Where I live, I go 15 minutes in either direction and I can hit 5 or 6 different hospitals. And that is not a lie. And so I tell, that's a gift that you live in that kind of place. And if you don't feel like you can go in, especially if you're talking to your primary, if you're, I'm not talking you have the sniffles and you just need to go get your Z-Pack. I'm saying when you are going to talk to your oncologist, your surgeon, your primary, when it's time for that. And if you're going in, have a list of questions. Know that don't think you're going to remember that you have this weird thing on your foot that you want to make sure that you mentioned, is that something I should get to, write it down. But if they are not giving you the time, find somebody else. Mm-hmm. Because I've had conversations with a lot of different doctors. They go in because they want to care for people, because they want to help people. So they're out there, just like you said, find them, ask around, talk to people. And, now I think what's another that I don't know how many people take advantage of it, but at least where we are, especially my primary, I can just message her through their portal. And it's nice. I can say and sometimes she'll be like, you need to come in for that. I'm like, okay.
Right.
But it is, you can get a direct, and she encouraged me. She's like, if you have a question, just put it through there. Cause I check that all the time. Mm-hmm. So take advantage of that. Make sure that you find somebody that does have that's able in a reasonable amount of time, give you time. And then in a reasonable amount of time, be able to, respond to you.
I love it. I want to backtrack because you breezed over something that I think is actually really important. And when you made the comment about women and men too, I want to just like talk a little bit, right? Susan G. Komen, we always think about women and breast cancer, but yet men can get breast cancer and experience that too. And I find, when's the last time you met a man that did a breast exam or goes in for a breast exam?
Yeah, men can get breast cancer for sure. And you mentioned about the gene. And that is something too that people really need to be aware of. Just because you have the gene doesn't mean you're going to get breast cancer. And just because you don't have the gene doesn't mean you're not going to get it. But you need to be looking up both sides of your family tree. So knowing what your, personal and family health history is so important. And again, it's like up both sides of the family tree. And that is something, it's funny. I feel like we talk about it a lot more now, but, certainly like if I, my grandmother, God bless her, 98 years old, if I asked her, she would say she doesn't know what her mom or her dad, like what sort of they didn't talk about things like that. But, you really should like document it. You should, and now you go for any doctor appointment and they want to know who had this and who had that, sometimes it means something, sometimes it doesn't. But you really need to know. And, the male breast cancer, again, not an authority on it at all, but yes, men get breast cancer too. And they also can carry the gene. So,
okay. So those of you out there that are not doing self-breast exams, if you need to learn how to, we're going to figure out how to get that in our link with some instructions on how to do self-breast exam, because it's super, super important. You got to be an advocate for yourself. Most times you will find something even before your doctor does. Cause if, you do it the right way, you're only seeing them once a year, and yet something can pop up before. So we'll make sure in the links that we get that. Now, I'll tell you, it's interesting. I've done some of the walks, right? And I've participated and I've written some of the checks. But I do have to tell you, not only before walking through cancer, but even after, sometimes I wonder, and there's been some articles about, you write the check and yet there's some guy sitting or girl behind the desk making, $3 million running the organization. And by all means, if you're running a great organization, I do believe that you should make money. I don't think you have to, starve, not be able to afford groceries when you're doing some amazing work. But when we write the check, I know there's a lot of people who say, well, I don't want to write the check because I don't know where it's going. I don't know that it's really helping the people that need help and that it's not going to that guy's, kids' college fund, which again, I have 3 kids to put through college. Write the check because those kids need an education. But any advice out there, for somebody who's been involved with a massive organization that obviously collects millions and millions of dollars, how do we make sure that where we're writing the check is supporting the things that we, want to support?
So I think like across the board, before you write a check, and whether you're writing a check for, 25 or 2,500 or 25,000, know what the organization does, know what they are, what services they're providing, how they're giving back, what they're, a lot of times you can look up their 990 and just see, what are people paid? How much is actually going towards their mission? What organizations are they, look on their website. Are they collaborating with? Are they supporting? Are they getting involved with? And it really, there are ways to find out. Call them, just ask like, hey, I was wondering how much goes to overhead. What percentage of the money that you collect goes to overhead? A website like GuideStar is a great tool. So I think it's guidestar.org. But you go on there and you can basically look up any nonprofit and they grade them. And there's nonprofits, again, like across the board, really for any cause, because people are starting them for things that are near and dear to their heart. And then the next thing I would suggest, and this is like, if you are really looking to find out more, get involved.
Okay.
Show up, get involved, start asking questions, even if you're volunteering for a day, but, read up, pay attention to the emails that they're sending. What are they sharing? What are they not sharing? But you should be, transparency is incredibly important, when it comes to nonprofits. And if you just have like an inkling, like there is another organization that will support the cause that you're trying to help.
Okay. Yeah. I think there's tons, right? And
yeah,
I also believe it's really important. And to your point, I don't think everybody has to, write the check for the couple thousand. I think even $5, even
Listen,
75 cents, right? Just that idea of
well,
giving in order to support an organization is really important.
well, and everybody's, a meaningful gift is meaningful to that person.
Right.
Right. So, if you asked, my 14-year-old, $5 is meaningful to him. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
right.
that's, I don't know, whatever he gets paid an hour, but it's a portion of it, so that's different. You want to make sure that whatever it is like that you're honoring, you want to make sure the nonprofit is honoring what's meaningful to you. And that can come on every different level.
I love it. Okay. So now this gets weird, right? Because you've been involved in this allopathic world of chemo and medication and imaging and all of this stuff that just doesn't feel very pure and natural all the time. And now you're like standing in front of 1,500 chiropractors, which is like the antithesis to a certain degree of what you walk through. How do you go from allopathic medicine to chiropractic and still love it?
I mean, I think it's really about the people in the organization. And so I've been asked this question a lot, like, gosh, you made such like a big change. I'm like, what's kind of funny about it is that the spirit of, the volunteers and the organization that I was with at Susan G. Komen, that same spirit like carried over. And, at the ANJC, our members, our board members, our staff, our consultants, committee members, like everybody, they just want to help. They just want to help people, right? They want people to feel good about themselves, and they're incredibly passionate. And so that's what really carried it through. So after I thought of it, it probably took me like a good 6 months. I was like, that's interesting. Like, that's really what I was following, was the passion, of like, that's what drives me.
Makes sense.
People who are passionate about what they do.
Okay. So I'm going to put you in charge of the entire world of medicine, no matter what kind it is. What would you change? What do you want to see different in medicine?
Oof. I mean, listen, people are going to say like, we had to find a cure for cancer. And the reality is that like they find new cancers every single day. Mm-hmm. So what I hope is that we keep finding treatments and the cures that are keeping people, and not just cancer, but, whatever the ailment is that, actually, I'm going to change my answer. And I hope that this is like, because as I'm like thinking about it, I'm just going to change it, because really what I think it's about is like helping people, honestly, to go seek help, right? Okay. So when they are not feeling better, when they're not feeling good, not feeling themselves, to understand that and to go seek help, right? So to go seek the cure, and the cure could be whatever. It could be, stomach issue or a head cold. It could be, gosh, there's like something that I feel in my breast, like I don't know, but to know that you can get through it, and that there's help out there. There is a team of people out there that wants to help you get through it. And, before, during, after, and like, see you survive whatever it is.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then we need accessibility, right? So that
yes,
we can get in.
Yes.
Accessibility, which I think is getting harder these days too. It makes me sad when I know if it's something I can't handle, don't want to handle, not an expert in, and I need to refer to somebody, and then you get I can't get in for 6 months, or, I needed to change an appointment, but I can't because they've got a year waiting list. And my doctor, 3 times today in my own office, I heard about other practitioners that just retired and how sad they were because now they have nowhere to go and don't know where to go, right? Because they had a relationship for 20, 30 years with an internist that now, is in Maui drinking Mai Tais, right? And well-deserved, of course, the retirement, but the accessibility is really hard. And I love the field of chiropractic because I think it's growing. And, I think the time that we spend with our patients is enormous. And again, even if it's something we choose not to or don't feel comfortable handling, at least that portal of entry, right? Patients feel heard, and it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that is like overwhelmingly what I hear. The relationship that patients have with their chiropractors, it's different. And to your point, it's because the accessibility of it, right? Mm-hmm. So you're seeing them often. You're, you build a rapport. You're sharing, maybe some stuff that like whether it's about other ailments or people in your life, that you're helping to manage. And, then they're saying like, oh, well, we could do this for this person, or have you talked to that person, and really being that kind of resource that's just helping people to feel the best that they can.
Yes, I can. All right. So if any of our listeners, because I'm sure some of them are going to be in the New Jersey vicinity, is there access on the website to find a great New Jersey chiropractor?
There sure is. We do have a find a doc. Yeah. Portion of our website. So all of our members, you can go right there and look up and by zip code. We often have people, you can also call the office and just share, hey, I'm in whatever town, and we'll share with you like how you can get in touch with our members that are in that area.
So awesome. So share that with everybody. What's the website? What's the phone number?
It is anjc.info. And our phone number at our headquarters office is 908-722-5678.
I love it. And I'm going to just do like the shameless ask here because, I've been to your organization to speak and I had a really great time. So I hope that you'll have me back and then maybe some of the listeners will come hear me speak and then we can connect them to the great doc. So you see how I did it?
I love that.
Little self-serving, got myself back, got to get myself invited back.
Gosh, we got such great feedback about your presentation.
Well, sure, because we talked about sex.
See?
Who'd we freak out? How many people did we freak out?
What's funny? I mean, I'm sure that did, but what I was really impressed by was how honest and kind of like just the questions that came out that people were like asking, and they like, because they're real deal stuff that happens, in their offices, that they have patients and they're asking, or, whatever it may be, but is this going to happen? What do I do in this situation? And I just, it was great. It was fun to watch. It was great to see at work.
It was fun to see a little squirming and a little confidence and, everything in between. So it was really cool. Suzanne, I love this, but you know what? We're going to take a really quick break because my sponsors are important and we've got to take a quick listen. And then if you're up for it, we're going to come back. I'm going to ask you some questions that I did not prep you for. And I want to see what your answers are. Are you up for that?
I'm ready for it.
All right. Take a deep breath. We're going to prep. And everybody hang tight. We'll be right back. This is your weekly dose of Dr. Cindy, the Positively Altered podcast. Stop, hit that follow button now and spread the love with Positively Altered. We're back to one of my favorite parts of the show. This is the rapid fire questions, which are never rapid fire because I always have questions to the questions.
Okay, good.
Right? I'm always like, it's going to be really fast and then it's not fast at all. So let's see how it goes. All right. Question number 1. Suzanne, it's like a game show. You ready? Question number 1. If you could make snow any color except the color white that it is, what color would you make it?
Pink. I know that sounds like sort of girly, but pink. Wouldn't it be so pretty with pink everywhere?
Maybe. Now, is it pink? Is it pink because of your history and breast cancer and pink and red?
No, I just think that would make it not so bleak.
Okay, so we don't need the ribbons all over the place in the snow.
No. I'm thinking like a nice pale pink.
Pale pink. Okay, so like a light kind of a what? Oh my God, I can't think of the word when they're pale colors. What is that called?
Pastel.
Pastel. See,
was that a rapid fire question I got right?
No, but if we were on a game show where we had to help each other, we would have won the $1 million right there because that was good. Okay, pastel. Just we're recording this in the day, and the brain's just it's resting. Okay, that was number 1. Number 2, you could be an Olympic athlete that's going to win a gold medal. What sport are you going to pick to win the medal in? Guaranteed.
Skiing, moguls.
Moguls. Have you ever done it?
Tried. Yes, I like to skate. I'm okay. But the moguls or something, like, I just think that is such a talent, how they keep like their skis so close and they go like this. It just looks like, and then just their knees. How do they do that?
I don't know. I mean, I've been skiing twice. Once I spent face down. The other time I went to the little.
You were at the lodge.
Yeah, I look much cuter in the lodge than down in the ice. And I couldn't figure out because when the skis cross, it kind of like it's a very long appendage. I don't get it.
Yes.
I give a lot. Like I'm really impressed by people who can not cross and fall and die. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
I learned when I was 4. So it just, I think, comes like,
that's why you had no fear. I went as an adult. Nobody even taught me how to get off the lift and I almost killed myself.
See, there you go.
Not good. Not good.
Yeah.
All right. One drink for the rest of your life, sweet, strong, or sour?
Oh man. Neither.
None, not sweet, strong, or sour?
No, red wine.
Oh, well, that could be sweet or sweet. No, tart, bitter.
I like a Cabernet.
Good job. All right. Listen, I didn't give you that as a choice, but you know what? You're your own individual and you get to make up the rules. So that's fine. That's why I like you, because I wouldn't have answered the question the right way either. All right. You get to pick one famous person, dead or alive, that you want to have a meal with, but nope, I could care less who the person is. It doesn't matter to me. I want to know what the meal is going to consist of. What are you eating when you meet with them?
Oh man. Well, I think I mean, I'm probably going to go for like a regular, like old, like steak night out.
Okay. Yeah. Any like veggies or appetizers along with it, or just like a slab of steak on the plate?
No. I'm going to go like steak. I'm going to go with like a baked potato. I'm going to do like, maybe some roasted Brussels sprouts on the side, maybe a wedge salad to start.
Nice. And on the potato, is it loaded? Is it a loaded potato?
Yes, I do like a little potato, but no bacon bits. I'm very weird about that. I already have the steak.
You see how this isn't rapid at all, right?
Not
rapid at all. Okay, and then the steak. This is a make it or break it question. This is where we either stay best friends or we're going to have to part ways.
Oh man, I really want to stay best friends. Okay.
What temperature are you ordering the steak?
So I'm going to go, because we're at a steakhouse and it's a really good place, I'm going to go like medium, but on the rarer side.
Oh, we can still be best friends.
Oh my gosh. That was stressful.
Ding, 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 ding. You had the right answer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Okay. If you could be an actress, a singer, or a dancer, which would you be?
A dancer.
And what kind of dancing?
I mean, probably like Broadway. Like I would like.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is only coming up like on my Instagram. All I'm seeing are people do that from Chicago, all that jazz, yes, like that one thing is coming over. Like now you're going to see it because you know what happens, that Instagram hears you. And so you're going to see. Yeah.
I love it. All right. I'm going to dance with you on Broadway. We're going to order medium rare steaks and I'm going to make my snow orange, but it's okay because the Dr. Cindy colors are orange, pink, and purple. So we can have a ribbon of pink.
If you put ours together, it would look like a sunset. Wouldn't that be so much nicer than like dirty snow?
Yeah. Well, we've got a lot of dirty snow here. Yeah. Dirty yellow, not either one. Not so good.
It's not great.
That's so good. Okay. Last question. This is a big one. Really big.
All right.
What was your favorite thing about doing the podcast today?
Well, I always love to see you, but I thank you for allowing me to tell my story. You know, that I don't often do it. And I think as like time goes by, I think, not that I think less and less about it, but it comes up and I'm like, oh yeah, I am a cancer survivor. Like, it's like, you just sort of like put this as like one piece because you've moved on in life. So, it really is important. Please go get your colonoscopy. Go get your mammogram, get your colonoscopy, pay attention to your body. If something doesn't feel right, go to your doctor.
Right. So sticking something up your ass sometimes is a good thing.
Listen, you never feel as thin as you do on colonoscopy day.
And then rehydrate, please. It's really
rehydrate.
important.
And it all comes back and you're like, no, that was all.
It's so important to rehydrate. Oh my gosh, Suzanne, it's always so much fun to hang out with you. If anybody wants to follow you, check you out, learn, see what you're doing, how do they find you?
So I'm on LinkedIn, Suzanne Corson, Facebook. I love new friends. Please find me.
Oh my gosh, so great. Everybody out there, again, great messaging. No matter what type of cancer it is, please don't obsess about it, but do the screening, right? Yes. Find the right team to help you either just navigate or educate. And at the end of the day, if you have any questions, find somebody to reach out to, right? It's really important. Yes. I'll tell you what, it's a big club. We have a fun time in the club. I hope you're never part of the club. And if you are, you're welcome. So
I would say it's the sorority you never want to be a part of.
Yeah. And listen, and we are, and you know what? It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay, because we're here to tell the story and we're going to keep doing it. And I love that you share. I'm going to continue to share, because if this episode changes one person's life and they go get a screening, or they think differently, or they find that right doctor, then you know what? I'm really glad we were both vulnerable and, we share that. So, for everybody out there, check it out. If you want to learn more about what's going on in my world, please check us out at drscindyspeaks.com. You can shoot us an email at hello@drscindyspeaks, or pick up the book, Positively Altered, Finding Happiness at the Bottom of the Chemo Bag. Just like you, one of my favorite things is just sharing stories. And with you, it was all that much more special. So that was my favorite part of today's podcast.
Oh, thank you.
For all of you listening, I hope you were positively altered.